Yep.
Okay, we are recording.
Okay, I'm going to call it to order then. And this meeting is held as a virtual meeting, given that the Illinois governor has declared the coronavirus pandemic a disaster. I've determined that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent because of the disaster. I have also determined that it is not feasible due to the disaster and the disaster declaration to have a library trustee, the library director, or the library's attorney present at the library. Okay, I want everybody to verify they can hear. George,
Yes.
Andrea,
I can hear.
Bonnie,
Yes, I can hear you.
Catherine,
Yes, I can hear.
Anne,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, so we have a quorum. Everybody's here and time for the pledge.
Okay.
Bringing it up. One moment. Sorry.
No worries.
I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
to the flag
Of
of
the
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 United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
And
One
One
nation.
one nation,
one nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
with
liberty
liberty
and
justice
justice for all.
Woohoo.
That is really pathetic, I have to
It's
say.
it's so hard to do on Zoom.
Virtually.
It really is.
The
Oh,
Warren Newport Public Library District provides the community with access to information, kindles the imagination of children and adults, and supports lifelong learning. Would anyone like to speak in public comment? Okay, correspondence.
No, we don't have any.
We have one, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I received an email from a patron this month, and I answered her and briefly and referred her to Ryan, and he gave her another answer. So I just want you all to see the correspondence.
Yeah, and this had to do with asking about the library parking lot book drop, and I can send this out after the meeting, and how to contact the library if there are any questions. And what I indicated to this patron, you'll see here, is that the really main reason why it's closed has to do with the quarantine of items, because we're quarantining things for 72 hours. That's the current recommendations we're getting from that Realm project, and I'm optimistic that those recommendations will go down. Obviously, the more information that comes out, the fomites don't seem to be the primary spread of COVID. I think we all are aware of this. So I think the science is changing. So hopefully soon we'll no longer have to quarantine, but we're still following that recommendation to quarantine these for 72 hours.
And you
And so
said
that
you did not hear back from her, correct?
We haven't heard back from her yet.
Right, nor did I.
And she gave us her name and contact information. I just removed, since this is a public meeting, I removed it so she can maintain her privacy. But
Have we gotten that question before?
I think it's staff have received the question before. Yeah.
Not as much as you'd think, though, really.
Has
Is
any,
that information on the website why that's closed?
I am not sure. I'm sure at one point it was, but we've modified the website several times.
Right,
So
right.
I'm
Maybe
not
it would be
100%
good to
sure.
put it back on.
I did receive a comment from a patron to me specifically. And I told them, that the main one under the awning was open all the time. But I don't know if we need to increase our signage, or she didn't see it, or what. I'm sure there's some sort of sign up there.
I know, I always forget and I drive around anyway. What does the sign say? Go to the front?
Yeah, there is a sign on there. I don't remember exactly what it says,
Yeah,
but it's something along the lines of,
But it does say that it's not open because of COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I also had an inquiry from a patron about when the library was going to open and when the library meeting rooms would be available again. And I just said, keep checking the website. I didn't think that the meeting rooms would be open for a while, but even after we opened, but.
Yeah, we'll talk when we get to the executive director's report. We'll talk more about reopening.
Okay.
That's it for correspondence, right?
I just want to, I'll bring something up and email it to you later. I'm on a website, neighborhood website called Nextdoor. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that website.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Ryan, have you been checking any of that?
Yeah, I'm familiar with there was a thread. I think it started on Friday. I saw it on Saturday.
I'm
which
not gonna, I didn't
Yeah.
want to bring it up, but I thought I better mention it.
Yeah, and my thought process on something like that is
Wait, what, something like what? Is there a
so
thread?
Nextdoor Gurnee is a social networking platform that Gurnee certainly has. I think Wadsworth has it as
Yes,
well, surrounding
Lots of
communities.
communities do.
And what it is, it's sort of it's a social media platform. It's somewhat like Facebook, but it's a little bit different because you have to live in a neighborhood to participate in the platform. And you can't be anonymous. Even on Facebook, you could make your name anonymous somehow. But it says your name and the neighborhood you live in. So if I were to post, it would say my name and my neighborhood. And there was a question on there about when the library will reopen, and the thread about the services we're providing. There were some patrons that were obviously frustrated that we're not open. There was a former trustee that made a comment on that thread as well. It's one of those things that I appreciate the feedback, but Nextdoor Gurnee in particular, we obviously monitor our own social media platforms, we monitor our Facebook, reply to that, or Twitter, but something like that we're not really active on.
Right.
I don't want to jump in and
Same
engage.
here.
I personally, I think that Nextdoor, there's a lot of people on there. It's a nice platform for a lot of reasons, but there are some people, very opinionated people on there, and it's probably not the best platform for us to communicate. I'm happy to, these patrons want to call and talk to us. I'm happy to talk to them.
I just didn't appreciate the stirring of the pot by a former trustee. That I was pretty perturbed by that. So
Well, I agree with both of you that none of us can comment because we're all just individuals unless we're in a board meeting. If somebody's going to comment, it would be Ryan, but none of us should engage. I applaud you to have the courage to not say anything, and the what's personal self-control.
yes, that was it. Totally. The other thing is that the site is pretty nice if you are looking for a particular service or a community-based restaurant, or I've sold some items from my home on it. So, I think the general sense of that website was started in a very altruistic sort of way. And usually someone pushes back on people when they start getting political, etc. So I was disappointed to see that and wanted to make sure that we were all aware. So I'm glad you are aware, right?
Okay.
Yeah, if it's something that you're interested in, let me know, and I can email you the screenshots if it's something that you're really interested in.
All right, we're on to the consent. Anybody want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Okay, can I have a motion to approve as presented?
I move to approve. Go ahead.
I move that the consent agenda be approved as presented.
I'll second it. It's Bonnie.
Discussion? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Arnold,
Aye.
Cheng,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Otsinis,
Aye.
Parkapisi,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
Okay, President's report. Questions, comments, concerns?
A lot of hours again, Joe.
Yeah, I've been busy.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should double your salary.
Perfect.
I'll second
you.
that. Yeah.
I'll take it. Anyone else have a report?
I do. This is George. First, from our library, there was on Friday, I don't know if anybody had a chance to attend, but we did a a virtual costume themed story time for Chinese New Year, which was really cool, and the kids liked it.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's neat.
They had a reading of Mulan.
Woo.
Also attended the annual legislative breakfast, although without the breakfast this year. I don't know if anyone else from the library had a chance to attend.
I did.
We were mentioned, though not necessarily in a positive light, mentioning that we closed on Friday due to another COVID case among the staff. But I think everyone was dealing with the same issues, and I'm glad that we're still participating in these events to keep in touch with all of our peers.
Anyone else?
I'd like to say something. I did participate in the trivia through the Exchange Club. We had a great group of 5 that were allowed up to teams of 8. And I am happy to say we did not embarrass the library.
Yay.
Very good.
Ryan, you can add to that if you like.
I'll save it for my report. I'll add a few things, but the team did great. And won a prize as well, because our team went around. So.
There you go.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, Ryan, you're up.
Yeah, I think the big topic, of course, is when are we reopening the building to the public, letting them in the building, and that is still, as I alluded to I think the committee of the whole, we're still targeting a March 1st reopening date, assuming we don't have any more staff COVID cases, which obviously, we experience that as a an issue. Yeah, and so in terms of what we're looking at to doing when we're opening, we're going to maintain our current hours that we have, but we'll let the public in the building during those hours. And initially, our thinking is it will be a kind of a grab and go, give patrons the ability to browse the collection. Computers, I don't think we're going to have them ready March 1st because we are devising a system that will keep our staff safe and the public safe. We're looking at a lot of different models. The model I kind of like right now is the appointment model, which maybe won't allow us to serve as many of our patrons at once, but it's a model that some of the libraries are using. And I think we can do it as safe and effectively, keeping staff at a distance from patrons and giving them the time they need to do what they need to do on the computer.
We're doing online appointments too with screen sharing, just to toss that out.
Yeah, and I think that the really tough thing for us with computer usage is that we know our patrons, the patrons that really need the computer services, they need a lot of help from staff. So one of the things that we talked about at first, and one of the things that I think myself, probably Noreen, were pushing for was to let's open the library with the computers, and we'll just say staff cannot go and interact with those patrons, that will say they're on their own. But after talking about that, we feel that it's just going to cause more frustration. There's some libraries that reopened, like Niles, Maine, that one of their biggest pressure points since they've reopened, I think they did it on February 1st, was the fact that they were offering computers, and they did it in a different way, and that caused a lot of frustration. So we're trying to balance staff safety, and it's such vital service to the community, and also doing it in a way that's going to be effective to help our patrons. And that's almost impossible. In the meantime, we're continuing to look at other alternatives. We'll talk about the laptop circulation, but right now, that's A, we don't necessarily have the money to buy laptops, and B, there's some other issues with that as well. But so that's the biggest challenge right now, I think, is to figure out how to provide that service. So I'm hoping that we'll have that soon after we open, if we're not ready by March 1st. So.
And Ryan, are we going to limit people that like we did earlier, like have a counter to limit?
Yeah, the same system. We're gonna limit patrons to the building. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I know, for example, Lake Villa, they're not typically as busy of a library as we are, but their numbers have been very low since they reopened their doors to the public on February 1st. So I don't think that will be an issue. I think if we, keep the same limit we had, which was 50, we won't have any issues. So
We're still going to require masks, right?
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Even if people have vaccinations, it doesn't change things. So people will still have to follow the same rules as before, mass social distancing. Yeah, so it's.
I'm sorry, you said the stacks will or will not be open?
Yeah, the collection will be, the whole collection will be open to browse, with the exception of the quiet reading room still. And I think as we, move forward, we'll start to explore that. Right now, that is a staff break space, because one of the things we're trying to do is keep staff spread out for lunches and that type of thing. So we're using that. We're using the flex. We're in some instances we're using some of the meeting rooms. So that has captured a lot of our space, and we're also using the meeting rooms as well for quarantine materials and for staff workspace, because one of the things we wanted to do is spread out staff, because we have some cramped quarters in the back. So a lot of our real estate is being utilized, just due to kind of mitigating the COVID situation, really. So it's a challenge, but I'm excited. I'm excited about March 1st. I will share with the board that I know staff are very anxious about it, though. Letting the public back in the building. If you think about it, we've been in this mode for I'm not even sure, months, right? And so it's been a while since we've had the public in the building, and we're in staff. There are lots of they're anxious. So
Yeah.
Andrea.
A friend of mine is a CFO at a factory of about 100 people. And so she has an accounting staff, and they did the research and went online, and every hour somebody was checking 20 websites. She got the entire factory and the entire office vaccinated. I would certainly be in favor of our staff putting that type of effort, online for anybody who wants to get the vaccine to search the sites. I don't know exactly how she did it, but that they did it, and they got 100% of their people vaccinated. But she said it did take a lot of checking websites, and that's the key, is to constantly check these websites.
I have one that I've been very lucky. I've gotten myself and then 3 friends registered by just being relentlessly refreshing. So it's IllinoisCoronavirus.com. And
Sonia, can I tell you how special you are to me?
just give me your information and I'll keep checking. It was kind of like almost, I don't want to say a game, but it was a challenge, So I got 3 of my friends this weekend. So it's just, let me know.
Yeah, I mean, if you have resources, please share them with me. I obviously would love to do that.
Do you repeat that website?
Let me double check it, but I think it's IllinoisCoronavirus.com. What will happen is that it'll show every county in Illinois, along with cities with it. Every single website is the same of where to go. You end up going to, it's Jewel Osco, basically. And they'll ask you for a zip code, which I continue to put my zip code in, and Libertyville, and the one that I had the most luck with was Antiochs, which is 60002. I think people there aren't too crazy about getting the vaccine. That's my thinking. I teach up there, so I think that's why I was lucky enough to scroll through, and I ended up going right here in Waukegan, right down the road a little bit. So, but the key was to keep refreshing. So.
One thing about vaccinations, one of our plans in the next couple of weeks is to do a survey, and then I'm a survey of staff to see how many staff intend to get the vaccine. After sitting through some webinars, I did talk to our attorney, and what they are recommending is that, basically what they've said, since it's been given this emergency approval, these vaccinations, we really can't, even if we thought it was the right thing to do to mandate the vaccine, and I'm not so sure about that, we really can't do it, because there may be some legal liability for us. So it seems to be the thing to do is to incentivize staff to do it, maybe some small incentive if that's even necessary. So that's where we're still at with that. If the board's wondering, are we going to make staff get vaccinations? There are some issues with doing that.
I was only suggesting voluntarily.
Yeah, and I get the impression that the vast majority of staff will be interested in getting the vaccine, based on anecdotal evidence. The other thing that I'm interested in doing before March 1st is maybe using some of our repair budget to buy some HEPA air filters and possibly humidifiers for some staff spaces, some small staff spaces. That would be a pretty minor expense. We have reached out to some firms. I had a meeting with an engineering firm today. They specialize in COVID mitigation, examining your HVAC system, telling you what your options are. And they provided this great checklist to us for free. And one of the things they told me was that, it's a real low cost thing you can do and this is something we were talking about already, is the HEPA, HEPA air filters, and then humidifiers, because the more humid the air it is at a certain point, that's not good for the virus. So I think that's something that we're interested in doing too. Doing what we can to help keep staff and the public safe. Any questions about reopening the library on March 1st? A couple other things to mention that were mentioned already. The legislative breakfast, I was there as well. And it was a good event. And even though the library was mentioned kind of in a negative way, and it wasn't really negative, it was just that, it was a representative that came to the library and wasn't able to access the library because we were closed because of the COVID staff case. It did give the executive director of ILA a chance to further push that point with legislators that, listen, this is why library workers need the vaccine, because it's not like we're overstaffed, and if there is a case or two or three of COVID at a library, it just takes one case to damage services, so we can't offer services. So I think that actually kind of helped advocate for libraries in Illinois in a weird sort of way. But that was a nice event, although be it different from past years. And one of the things we missed out on is a chance for us to actually sit at the table with legislators and talk to them one-on-one. That was unfortunate. But the other fun thing to mention was the Exchange Club trivia. There's another one March 5th or 6th if we decide to enter a team, and our team did really well. The library team was 4th place. I was the scorekeeper, which was an interesting position to be in because I was keeping score for 22 teams. And I had to make the judgment call on all the answers because it was up to my discretion, which now I have a totally new way of thinking about this now that I've done it before, and I'll do it again. So, but I was definitely proud of the library team, and also Team Casinas did well. So that was good to have a lot of whether it was our kind of unofficial team or as an extension to the Casinas family. That was great. So it was a fun event.
You did very well as scorekeeper, Ryan.
Well, I think I might have missed a point or two here or there, or not missed it, but like I had to make a judgment call, which was challenging with some of those questions. So, it'll go smoother next time. We learned a lot of lessons. We had a great after action, and it'll be better next time. So, please sign up.
Okay, anything else on the executive director's report? Okay. So we're on to approval of the per capita grant. I move that the board approve the Illinois Public Library per capita and equalization aid grant application for filing.
I'll second.
Discussion? Okay, Gina, we can have a roll call.
Cheng,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Arnold,
Aye.
Barkapisi,
Aye.
Kutsinis,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
Okay, next is the semi-annual review of closed minutes. So do you want to explain this, Bonnie, or do you want me to?
You go right ahead, Joe. You're good.
Thanks. Okay, so when Bonnie and I did the audit for January,
Oh, yeah.
there were lots of papers, and anyway, we discovered, I think I discovered, that this particular set of minutes had a date on it for a meeting that never took place. And that is the recording there when we destroyed record. That's why it was, because I went to get the recordings to pitch them, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And they weren't there.
Yes, and so there wasn't one for March 7th. So we went back and looked and determined that it was really a meeting on August 7th of 2018. And so what we would like to do is inform you of this and have a vote to approve this amendment.
What I think happened was a 3 and an 8 got misrepresented when I was writing it, and no
Yep.
intent to, cause trouble, but
Just to confirm, because it's unclear from the comment, there was no meeting on 3/7/2018, correct?
right, right. It was 8/7/17 or whatever. It was not a 3, it was supposed to be an 8.
Okay,
That makes sense, everyone? Sort of.
so I move that the board approve
Okay,
the amendment
to
to the
June 16th.
semi-annual audit that was approved at the regular board meeting of June 16th, 2020.
I will second that.
Discussion? Okay, roll call.
Hank, Chen,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Arnold,
Aye.
Capisi,
Aye.
Kutsinis,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Beckwith.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, so Bonnie, if you want to put on there, add to this thing that the board approved this amendment at this meeting, then
Okay,
when I go to sign checks, I can take it and put it away.
okay.
Or do you have the binder?
I do have the binder.
Okay, never mind. Just add the note and put it in the binder. I won't need to take it then,
Okay,
unless you want me
so-
to take it back.
No, I'd rather keep it in
Yeah,
case
that's
we need it and we're not in there and all that. So let me make it clear. So on the amendment, I would put approved at this
Yes,
board meeting.
Yes,
Okay,
just
gotcha.
like we have at the top for the original.
Right,
Just add that up there that the amendment was also approved.
Right.
Put an asterisk or something to connect them.
got it. Will
Okay,
do.
what else? Where are we now? Okay, next is minutes for the January meeting. We put these under new business because somebody was absent and that person has to abstain. Was it you, Catherine?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. I move that the board approve minutes of the regular meeting of January 19th, 2021 as presented.
I'll second it. This is Ann.
Discussion? Okay, roll call.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Arnold,
Is this why I say abstain?
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
Sutton,
Aye.
Chen,
Aye.
Capisi,
Aye.
Kutsinis,
Aye.
Beckwith.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, items for next month's agenda. Okay,
Hey, Joe, one thing we'll want to put on is the intergovernmental agreement with the village for the parking lot project. Let's finally complete that thing.
okay. Anything else? Okay, anyone want to speak in public forum? Any announcements beside what's in the agenda? Any trustees want to make an announcement? All right, who would like to move to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn. That's
I'll
Bonnie.
second that. We can, any discussion? We can have a roll call then, Gina, please.
Capisi, Capisi,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Katsini,
Aye.
Dinsdale,
Aye.
Arnold,
Aye.
Cheng. Cheng,
Says connecting to audio. I don't know.
Can she do a thumbs up?
I don't know, can she?
I think she might have been trying to dial in because there was a phone number trying to get in just a second ago, which I accepted, but.
Go on to the next person, Gina, and give her a second.
it's you, the last one.
That's okay. Aye.
Jennifer, give us a thumbs up if your answer is aye. We can see you.
Maybe she can't hear us.
If
though.
she can't hear us.
And she can't hear us yet.
Sorry about that. I'm in.
Okay.
Aye or nay?
Maybe she didn't hear the motion.
Yeah, can you please repeat that?
It's to.
We had a motion to adjourn.
the meeting.
What's your vote?
Okay.
All right, it is 7:31. That
All
was good.
right.